Hello YouTube. Today I've got a review for you of the SOG Fasthawk. This is a smaller version of the large one. I believe it's the Fusion Tomahawk. But yeah, this is a smaller one. I'll start with why I got this Tomahawk. Obviously I was looking for a Tomahawk, but I'm no good with one because I haven't really practiced, so I wanted one primarily just for practice. And I had one that was real cheap. It was like $7 at some sort of reenactment. I've had it for years. And while throwing it, I broke the handle, which I'm not really surprised. From the videos I was watching on YouTube, kind of showing me form and things such as that. They said you would break your handle, so I wasn't really surprised. So with that note, I didn't want to buy an expensive Tomahawk and break the handle on it and be out 50, 60, 70 bucks, whatever I paid for it. So I decided to go for this one because it's cheap. So yeah, let's get into it. Specs on it. Blade length is 2 inches. Again, this is the smaller of the two Tomahawks, so it's got a pretty small blade. The material is 420 stainless steel with a hardness of 51 to 53, and that's pretty low. Most hardness on knives and such are anywhere like between 58 and 60, so this is pretty low on the hardness scale. The handle material is a glass reinforced nylon, and it is 12.5 inches overall and comes in at right about 2 pounds. The sheath is a nylon sheath with snap closures. Got 3 snaps here. And actually the sheath is a pretty good quality for the low price of the Tomahawk. The stitching on it's pretty nice. The only real flaw I see with it is right there where the two ends of the liner meet. But other than that, it's actually a pretty good sheath. It's got a 2-inch belt loop. As I mentioned earlier, this is a cheap Tomahawk of about 20 bucks, and that's important to keep in mind when looking at the aspects and the disadvantages and the negativities about this weapon, because the low price sort of negates or even is the reason for the cons with this Tomahawk. But for the price, it is decent quality. I don't see any real manufacturing issues. I've used it, so it's got a couple nicks in the blade due to the low hardness. It's even got this steel band right here for protection, protect the handle a little bit. It's nice, got a nice shape to it, but it's even. I don't really see any like major issues as far as quality. Biggest complaint about quality though is, if you can see it, there's a secondary bevel there. Let's make that a little better. Yeah, there you go. There's a secondary bevel, which helps with chopping, but that's not what this is intended for, as you can tell by the blade shape. And it just kind of, usually that's a sign of lesser quality, but it does add durability, and considering the softness of it, that durability is probably needed. But it's caused no real issues because it is a very minor secondary bevel. Because it is such a small and light Tomahawk, it is very fast, so if you were to use this in a fight or whatever, it would be a very quick weapon. But since it is still top heavy, it would still be pretty devastating to be hit with. It's still got a decent amount of power behind it. As I mentioned earlier, the shape of the head, particularly the blade edge, makes it very good for throwing. Because when you stick a Tomahawk, you don't want to stick it, not much room here, but you don't want to stick it flat, because you want to stick it at an angle. So you want to do this, stick quite an angle, and that upturn right here, this almost reverse beard, makes it very good for that. And it's got a very, even despite the secondary bevel, it's got a very fine edge. It's not sharp. It's not real sharp. It's not even axe sharp, and it came that way. But it does have a pretty fine edge, which makes it good for sticking. Like I said, that point really helps. The sheath is actually, as I mentioned earlier, pretty decent quality, but it's pretty secure as well. You snap all three of these, and that tomahawk's not going to fall out. Personally, I don't really like snaps because they're kind of slow to redo. Once you put your tomahawk in it, you got to squeeze them, and kind of difficult to undo. Plus, they cause catch points on the inside of the sheath, but they are pretty secure. I haven't had it fall out. Some cons of this is it is cheap steel. 420 steel is not a very good steel. It doesn't have very good edge retention, and the softness of it definitely shows that. It's also not full tang. The tang ends right here. You would think with the steel band, the tang would go into here, and this steel band would sort of wrap that tang to help secure it more, but nope. Tang ends right here before the steel band. I wanted a full tang blade, and you're gonna get it's gonna be a lot heavier if you get full tang, and a lot more expensive. I won't say a lot more expensive, but it's gonna get a little more pricey. But again, I bought this because I wanted to practice throwing, and if I broke the handle, not a big deal because I'm only out 20 bucks. So you get what you pay for. The secondary bevel, as I mentioned, it's not real ideal for a tomahawk or something like that, considering it's not this, especially with this shape, is not designed for chopping. You probably want something like that, but not a huge deal. And like I said, with the softer blade, secondary bevel would add some probably add some needed reinforcement there. The sheath, I feel like it's upside down. You insert the tomahawk like so, pull it out like so, which means it would hang from your belt. I don't really have enough room here, but it'd hang like this with your handle going down. So if you threw your tomahawk and you just wanted to put it back in the sheath just to walk back to where you're standing to throw it again, you couldn't do that. You'd have to snap all the snaps to get it to stay. Plus, it makes it a little more difficult because that means you have to hold your tomahawk in place while you're snapping the snaps. Plus, if the snaps, I did say they were secure, but if they did come undone, it would just fall out. Whereas if the snaps were on top and you pull it up out of the sheath, if the snaps came undone, it would still stay because of gravity. It wouldn't just fall out. And personally, like I said earlier, I'm not a fan of snaps. They're slow to get to. They're slow to redo. You could use Velcro, but I'm not a fan of that either because out in the woods, you get bits of foliage and everything in there and they just stick. I'm more of a fan of Kydex sheaths, sort of like this, where it just locks into place. Just pull it, push it back in, it doesn't fall out. But with Kydex or an ABS plastic or even glass reinforced nylon, you're gonna go up in price. But the easiest thing I feel like they could do to improve this as far as a sheath without really driving the price is flip it around, make the snaps up here so that it can just rest in there without you having to snap it. The other issue with the sheath is the belt loop. I mean, it's a secure belt loop and it's about a 2-inch belt loop, but it's 2 inches right here at its widest. It gets smaller. I have a 2-inch belt and it does fit still, but I have trouble getting it in there. The belt loop, that is. So that's kind of an issue if they moved it more this way or made this overall 2-inch belt loop. So there's that. Overall though, it is a good tomahawk for the price and I would recommend it. Um, at the end of the video, it'll cut to some footage of me doing some tests. I will do some chopping tests, although that's obviously not the purpose of this Tomahawk. You're not going to do any sort of serious chopping with a 2-inch blade, and the lightweight's not going to make it real effective. This design is fighting and throwing. So all those reviews out there that I found of it were all people chopping, and that's not what's intended for. I'm still going to do it to show some of the durability, just to show what it can do. But this shape is for throwing and fighting. My plan eventually is to get a better Tomahawk, a better quality Tomahawk, a little more expensive, and I want about a medium size for fighting, throwing, and chopping. But this is not that. This is strictly fighting and throwing. But overall, I would say I would recommend it for the price. If it were any more expensive, if they were wanting $40 for it, I wouldn't do that. But $20 is fine. I've seen it some places for $30. I don't know. I mean, I paid $30 for mine overall because of shipping and handling, and I bought mine from Amazon, and I did the 2-day shipping. So, all right. But if you're gonna pay $30 and then shipping and handling on top of that, I wouldn't really recommend it. But for the base price of $20, it's hard to go wrong. Even if you hate the thing, well, you've learned a lesson, and a lesson is worth $20. All
right. So here we are. Got my Tomahawk. I'm gonna start with some throwing tests, and for my target, one was like canvas boards, whatever, designed for painting. My stepsister's into painting. She ended up throwing this one away for whatever reason, but pulled it out of the trash. Figured it'd make a good target. You can see I use it for my bow, which is actually really handy because it's just thick enough to stop my arrows from sinking all the way into the bale and me losing $10 arrows like normal. Plus it's high visibility and peace sign, so it's nice and ironic too. Anyway, so here we go. Here we go. Now keep in mind, I am very bad at this. I am a beginner, for sure, and very mad, so let's see what I can do. Alright. Hit top corner. Said I'm very bad, but I did hit. It just didn't stick. 'Cause this canvas gives light, especially against these bales. These aren't normal bales though. They're not hay or alfalfa. They're actually corn. It's the entire plant: corn, stalk, leaves, cobs, corn itself. It's all in one bale. So they're pretty tough, pretty hard compared to a normal bale, but it's still a bale. Alright, back. Now you're attacking me. I guess you just returned the favor. Alright, bad throw. Hit like this. A little too much. It's because I normally hold it right here. I choked down for that throw. So that was bad decision on my part. Plus I hit the trailer, left the light, left a nice little imprint of my axe head. Did I mention I was really bad at this? And I've had my warm-up throws. There we go. I would say I think I'm getting better, but I think it's more I'm sucking less. Here in a second, I'll take away this target and just throw it into the bale so you guys can see it actually stick. I just like having a target because I do better if I have something to aim at. Alright, I don't know if you can see that in the shot, but hit up high, but it hit more at an angle like this, so it just kind of bounced off. Really even this trailer one. Oops. that one might have been out of shot, but I actually hit the blade. It just didn't stick. It hit and fell out. That was a really bad throw. I let that one loose a little early. Alright, I'm going to flip it around, throw it with this in first, so I throw it like this. This, it's not really showing this, because the head sinks pretty deep. This usually sinks even deeper than this. Obviously this has less mass it's pushing through, but this spike does some pretty great penetrating. Like I said, I do better actually having a target to throw it at, so that's why I'm all over the place. Alright, I'm going to do some chopping tests. Flip this around because that was when I was messing with my kukri. Like I said, this is not designed for chopping, but I'm going to do it just to show you what's capable of. Not too bad, but I was hitting on a nice B, so it's easy to take it out. But yeah, it's not too bad. Really abrasive on the hands. That was only a few minutes. You do that 20-30 minutes at a time, you're gonna have some crazy blisters without gloves anyway. I'll show you the penetrating power of the spike. That was a lot better. That one actually sent a crack up through the wood. That one didn't even stick. Yeah, against the grain, doesn't really want to stick with it. So, it's not too bad. Not designed for chopping, but if you absolutely had to, you could. Head's nice and solid still, didn't come loose. And I'm not surprised it didn't come loose. I mean, it's got 2 screws in there to hold it, very hefty screws. My biggest concern is just it breaking, but like you said, you know, it's got some nick stuff where I hit the trailer. Some yellow paint there. But it held up pretty well. And throwing is just about one of the most abusive things you can do to anything, even something designed to be thrown, because you never know what's going to happen. You don't know what angle it's going to hit. After you let go of it, you can't control the edge alignment. It may hit like that and put some torque on that blade, and send it flying off, hit rocks, throw it on the ground, but it did pretty well. And I had thrown it before, and I'd missed, but I'd never hit a solid piece of metal like I did today. So, despite what I said about the steel, it held up pretty well. Still not the best steel, still got some nicks in it, but the softness of the steel actually should allow you to sharpen it pretty easily. Anyway, yeah, for 20 bucks, definitely recommend it, and thanks for watching.